Corey Taylor, as we live and breathe. Look at you. How are you, you handsome devil?
Oh, well, I mean, from your lips, sir. It's fine.
Lovely to see you. So I was having a listen to Hydrograd, which you put together in the studio, essentially live, didn't you? You wanted to play it as live as possible.
Yeah, we wanted that energy, you know? Like, we've always felt really confident about the fact that we've never been able to capture our live vibe, you know, as a band, you know? So with this album, especially with this, you know, batch of songs, we wanted to go in and really kind of do it old school, you know, and capture that vibe. So there's no click track, there's no beat detective, there's no pitch correction, auto-tune, nothing. It is raw, it's us, it's badass, man.
Yeah, and so was it a fairly quick process then?
Yeah, we did 19 songs in less than a month.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it was
You're like Husker Du, you know?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, and it was, you know, I mean, it just felt so effortless that we turned around and we're like, we're done. What happened?
Yeah.
So we started creating work for ourselves. It was put in, but we had so much fun doing it, and yeah, you can totally hear it.
Well, I noticed that you had said there were a lot of different influences, a lot of different directions that you wanted to take with this album. You really wanted to make a true rock album in its essence, but also things, you know, as bizarre as sort of an Eagle-ish California sort of West Coast feel.
Yeah, St. Marie. Yeah. That song really, I mean, it started out very much as just an acoustic demo of me playing and then, you know, kind of just singing the harmonies and everything together. But then once we kind of went in the studio, we always had that idea of doing it as a full band piece, you know? Yeah. And when we did, it really kind of, it just kind of came into its own, you know? And then between that and Pearl Ade coming in and singing backups, and then her pedal steel player coming in and playing on the top of it, it just became a whole other monster, man. So it's a beautiful song.
Oh, it's a great album. I made some notes today when I was listening to it. For example, I know we just mentioned a moment ago about the different stuff that you had on there. You wanted to go punky as well. I thought Knievel Has Landed.
Yeah.
The vocals on that are almost hardcore.
A little bit, yeah. It's got a great kind of like elbow to the face kind of vibe to it, and it's, you know, it was such a great kind of hard riff, but then kind of came into its own, like this groove-ridden chorus, you know, where everything just kind of opens up. Yeah. So yeah, it's got a lot of kick to it.
All right. Song number 3. Is it called song number 3 for any particular reason?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, but I'm not going to tell you.
Because, well, a lot of people are actually opening up their own interpretations to what things mean.
Sure.
You know, for example, Hydrograd, which was something I think you read at the airport or something. Was that right?
So I was running through. I was trying to find my gate. It was an airport in Eastern Europe. It was fairly antiquated. Hadn't really updated their gate information or anything like that. I was running and it was all in like those digital kind of block letter number kind of things. And my brain, it was cycling through different languages, and my brain looked up at one and it just saw Hydrograd. And I just went, oh, I wonder where the hell is that? And I stopped, I turned around, I come back, and it wasn't even close. Like, it didn't even start with an H. And I was like, oh, God, it's my brain again. But I walked away going, oh, that's a cool name. And it just stuck with me. And then with this album, I wrote a song called Hydrograd, and we just felt like a great name for the album.
And the great thing, of course, it's German for sold 1 million copies of this album. So it's brilliant.
Well, that was very prescient on my part.
YSIF, you suck something.
You suck in full.
Okay,
yes.
There you go. Let's look at the first parts anyway.
This band is so loaded with inside jokes. It's not even funny, and we wear them so blatantly on our sleeves that it just laughs. You know, we've gotten a lot of great emails. We've gotten a few that are very biting, I guess is the nicest way to put it.
You're kidding me. You're getting trolled on your own
No, I
website.
swear. I know. Even me.
There you go.
And we basically named a song after an email that insulted us. So it was very funny.
Great. Take that. It's trolling the trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's got the bigger voice now? Huh? Okay, so I mentioned song number 3, which incidentally is really like your classic rock radio song as well. I mean, it's the obvious single off the album.
Absolutely. I mean, it kind of sums up everything we were trying to do with this album. Is like have that classic feel, but with a modern take. You know, like a modern production, modern kind of approach. But classic in the sense that has the massive chorus, the big melody, everything is just sticky. We call it junk food. Junk
Yeah.
food, you know, you listen to it, it's so good, you get fat listening to it. And that song was just, it was just custom made for something like that. It exceeded our expectations as far as how it came out, and then the reaction has been fantastic.
Well, it sounds great on the radio as well.
Thank
And the
you.
other one that I really like was Thank God It's Over. And for me,
Yeah.
I got really sort of a classic 70s metal feel. I mean, going back to, you know, people like Rainbow and Sabbath as well. I don't know
nice,
if that
yeah.
was the intention.
Oh,
But
I tell you what, it's funny you say that. I mean, I love hearing other people's intention. Like for me, that was our attempt to write an Alice in Chains song if they had grown up on the Sunset Strip. That kind of vibe. Like so, I love hearing the Rainbow and the Sabbath influence. It's really cool.
I noticed you played some Alice in Chains on the radio show the other day as well. And I
absolutely.
think you mentioned Clutch as well, which was, did you manage to get any Clutch on?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're one of the best rock bands of all
yeah.
time, man. So good.
And with the radio show, do you get to choose the music that you play? 'Cause-
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Yeah, they give me an hour, the
Yep.
fools, and I get to play whatever I want. But the crazy thing is they want me to talk like as much as possible.
But your stuff that you do is social conscious stuff as well.
Yeah, very, just kind of off the cuff and just kind of going with it. Yeah, it's crazy.
But, you know, I heard you talk about some stuff that was really personal to you as well. And I thought, well, that's really cool that you're not just using the radio show as an opportunity to play music, but also, I guess, as a cathartic thing, I guess, in a way for you too.
I've had a lot of fans tell me that they listen because, honestly, they don't know what I'm going to talk about. They never know, like, so it keeps them guessing. But also, at the same time, it helps them kind of process their own thoughts, which, to me, I guess, is one of the great things about it. So, yeah, it's a good problem to have, right?
We live in a really interesting age at the moment too, with the internet, with Snapchat, and I guess the older you get, the harder it is to keep up with it. I know there's a track on the album called Fabulous, which is for people who are famous
for nothing.
For nothing. And that seems to be a thing that people are aspiring to now, which is really weird.
It's so weird, and I hate it. And it drives me nuts. That's one of the reasons why that song is so vehement, like, and just so venomous as well, as far as the approach. It's just like the social media celebrity. I'm like looking at it, and I know people who've been busting their ass for years. It's loaded with talent.
Yeah.
And just haven't gotten past that club side, you know. And then you've got people who have been on Dr. Phil for 3 seconds, who are getting millions thrown at them. And I'm just looking around going, this is criminal. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of hate in that song.
I want to ask you about a couple of other things, and then we're going to see some live stuff.
Okay.
One is Chris Cornell. When that happened, we spoke to Chris when he was in Australia about a year and a bit ago. One of the nicest people you could have met.
Yeah.
And he seemed to, of all the people that you ever meet, he seemed to be so together. So when we found out about the news of Chris, we were in absolute shock. It was just like, I guess it was kind of like Bowie, where you went, this doesn't compute, you know.
Doesn't seem real.
Yeah, I know you did Outshine for him as well. And you were saying recently that you didn't realize the impact that he had on your songwriting until after the fact.
I mean, he was fantastic, and I didn't realize. Yeah, like you said, I mean, he wrote whatever he wanted, man, and never took any guff about it. Never let anyone dictate what he wanted to write, and that was so refreshing for me. Even going back to when I first kind of discovered Soundgarden, like the Screaming Life Fop, Louder Than Love, listening to that and then hearing stuff like the juxtaposition between a song like Birth Ritual and the acoustic song Seasons. To him, it was all the same thing. It was all music, and he didn't try cutting it up or delineating anything. He just did what he wanted to do, and that had such an impact on me. And that's one regret that I have, is I'll never get to tell him that. And it's he's.
Well, you did Outshine, I think, as a tribute, didn't you?
Did Outshine as a tribute, and then the promoters for Rock on the Range, which was the show the next day that they were supposed to headline, they asked me to do a little acoustic tribute, which I did with Christian Martucci from Stone Sour. We went out and we played "Wish You Were Here" and "Hunger Strike," and the
Temple of the Dog.
The outpouring of emotion from the audience was fantastic. There was no way I was going to do it if it felt disrespectful, because it was all about allowing the audience to grieve. So, and they loved it. They sang along. They sang everything. They made their voices heard, and hopefully Chris heard it.
Well, I'm sure he would have done, man, and it was a great song for you to choose as well, and a nice tribute. Hey, listen, thank you so much for coming and doing this for Triple M. Latest album's called Hydrograd. We're going to hear some songs off the album, and you know, maybe a cover or two. I'm throwing that in the mix. You know? Having heard you do, having heard you do London Calling by the Clash, that blew me away, man.
Great song, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thank you,
Corey Taylor.